All right. I am now walking into uh, the courthouse so I can start to speak to a judge so I can see what else I need to do. I do this every time I come in. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Is there? I got this pink slip.
Property. Yep.
Yes, a property receipt for safekeeping, and the guy that I guess that's over that has asked me to. He said that. Well, he sent me this. He handed me that, and I'll just let you read it. It'll be a lot simpler than trying to explain it. The assault on the officer was dropped in court. It shouldn't even be on my record at all. And plus, involuntary, I voluntarily went with them so I can go see my daughter. And they also came to my house without, and I didn't call them. Somebody from another state called them and asked them to come check on me. When I told them I was upset, they surrounded my house and proceeded to not leave, even though I asked them politely multiple times, and then proceeded to get pissed off because they wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if I could speak with the judge about it, so that way I could figure out something, see where I need to go, see what I need to do, see what hoops I got to jump through now that I was told one thing, and now that I'm actually doing the one thing, I'm being told that that was not true, and I need to do other things.
I'm trying to think.
Oh no, you're fine. I know it's it's kind of a shock.
Because I'm trying to figure out how to get you to talk to a judge, but I think it has to be like motioned in or through a lawyer or something like that before you can be able to talk to the judge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
But I don't know what that is because I'm not a lawyer, so I can't.
Right, and I mean,
tell you.
I never asked them to come into my house, and on top of that, they came in while nobody was there without a warrant. They come in and took items without a warrant, and then served this pink slip on my bed. Nobody was in my house when they did this. There was no warrant.
Okay.
I never asked them to go in.
I know you didn't ask them to go in, but.
And Lieutenant Colleen, is
Ken Lane.
Lieutenant Ken Lane was the officer that said that was the officer that went in my house without a warrant. On top of all of this,
I understand where you're coming from, and but from a law enforcement perspective, the reason why we were there was not because we weren't investigating. We had a right to be there because we were investigating something. Somebody has called, and so we needed to talk to. Figure out what was going on exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why we were there.
I know.
We didn't just show up to random
Oh,
people's houses.
I know why you were there. I even told them, look, somebody from another state called you.
Because I don't know anything about the incident.
I got you. I told you. I even told them that somebody from another state called you. I don't want you here.
Yeah.
Could you please leave? And then when they started to not leave is when I started to get more upset.
Yeah.
And felt more badgered. Then.
Well, let me give you this back.
Thanks.
I don't want to keep it.
No, yeah, because I'll need that for.
Sometimes. But my recommendation to you is maybe talk to an attorney about it.
This is going to cost me more, even though I wasn't under arrest. I still have to pay now. I got to pay an attorney. I got to pay for court costs. I got to pay for this.
I don't know about court costs or anything like that, or how much that costs.
I know,
or whatever,
but it's just you see where I'm coming from. Though I'm having to pay for things. When I wasn't under arrest, I haven't broken any laws.
No.
And now I'm having to do all of this over exaggerations.
Yeah. See, I wasn't there, so I don't want to make.
I understand. I understand you're not trying to push towards either way. I understand that. I'm just trying to figure out
where. If it comes from the sheriff, he's the man that writes my paychecks, so there might be something that comes from that. I don't know.
Well, it wasn't just the. I mean, Hodgins. I'm even think I might be even quoting the wrong officer. He was the one that, when I called, he got on the phone and to ask about that. When I called and he got on the phone, he said, "Just go up there at 9. Don't worry about it, and they'll give you your guns back."
Okay.
Same thing Robbie said while I was sitting in his office. Okay. Said, we have your guns, basically.
Yeah. Which is a normal thing.
Which is still, I had my keys, so that means they still went into my house without a warrant.
Yeah.
Like.
I understand where you're coming from, but it also with what it sounds like, in order to keep a situation safe, if they were under the impression that you might hurt yourself or hurt somebody else, I could see why they would take weapons away. Wouldn't you?
I could see why they would.
Consider that?
But
because they didn't know what the situation was going to be like when you got back home.
Wouldn't you still need a warrant?
Not necessarily.
So you don't need a warrant to go illegally into someone's house?
Not if we're there for investigative purposes and we're trying to fix a situation and figure it out.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I mean, I got what you were saying.
Okay.
I just still think that should be slightly illegal.
It's a vague kind of thing
because they took my keys.
Okay.
Like, they didn't ask for me to give them to them. They took my keys.
Okay.
From a friend of mine that I asked to hold on to them, and I don't know what they told him, but they basically said, just give me his keys. And the next thing I know, once my wife gets home, she finds the keys on the porch.
Okay.
And this pink slip on the bed. Nobody was home.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I'm more upset about, that they went into my house without anybody's consent.
Express permission. Okay.
Yes. There was no, as you say, express permission to go into my house, and they still did it.
Okay. That's something I can't do.
I understand that you're not a lawyer and that you're just...
But that's who I would consult with, is I would consult with an attorney and see about getting your property back. And so a lot of attorneys will give you a consultation without charging you any money. So at least you'll have a better idea of what your options are.
I know. Just the fact of I'm having to do all of this
just to
get an upper assembly for a weapon and a 22 survival rifle.
Yeah, I get it.
Which, anyways, it don't matter. So there's no way I can actually speak to a judge today.
No.
Okay.
Probably not. Not in the proper way. Not in the proper channels. That would probably help your case. They won't listen.
Do you have a pen, and so that I could write some of this stuff down? Like when they, how did you call it? Expressed
permission.
Expressed permission. All right. And that's expressed permission, and that's when
somebody gives us permission to go into the residence.
All right. So all right. I can
Yeah.
do it. I thought there was
going to be
another
just a pretty word for somebody said, yeah, we can come in.
Which there wasn't, and then I have to contact a lawyer.
We're also, as law enforcement officials, we are allowed to go into a residence to investigate or take care of business without permission from the homeowner.
It's kind of like civil forfeiture then. You could do whatever you want without any persecution to oneself. As long as we're there for law enforcement purposes.
If I was not there for a reason
right.
at all whatsoever, I just decided I was going to come to your house and knock on the door. I couldn't
just
walk in your house anytime I feel like
even
it.
Funnier, one of the officers, as I was going to see my wife at Robbie Holland's office, said,
well, Robbie's the one that this probably came from.
And...
Because the officer here says it doesn't, we don't just do things, see, it came from the sheriff himself. So, I mean, you could always ask the sheriff why he changed his mind.
I mean, I could, but, I mean, what's the odds of me actually being able to contact him at his office?
Slight to none, because I can barely contact him at his
so,
office.
So how am I expected to contact Robbie Holland if I can't contact him?
Because that came from him, I'm sure.
I mean,
it may have came from
anybody could have typed this up and said he put this on there, to be honest. I mean, the man walked in the back.
We don't lie about what the sheriff tells us to do, I promise
I'm not saying that you guys are lying about it. I'm just saying that, there's...
No. We don't just do things and put the sheriff's name on it, though. I promise you that. Because
his name isn't on this.
to bite us.
His name isn't on this at all. Robbie Holland's name is not on this. It's not his. He didn't sign this. He didn't.
It says sheriff on it. And so
Like
if
I
the
said,
sheriff
anybody
tells
could
us,
put-
we're not going to say the sheriff said this.
So-
if he didn't say it, because it'll come back to bite us, and then we'll lose our jobs.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes sense, but so if it,
Because I guarantee you the
you know what
guy
civil
that does the
forfeiture
evidence-
is, then, right?
Correct.
All right. So because that's along the same basis of what you were just saying. If they feel like there is probable cause in going into a house without a warrant.
Correct.
So
they have to
that seems
articulate
kind of
it. I
it
don't
should
have
be
to.
illegal just to do that. I mean, if I was standing in my house and I said don't enter my house, and you couldn't, right? But
Depending on the situation. If
Well-
you were beating the tar out of your wife or somebody,
I
or
can understand that.
had a
I
gun
mean-
pointed to your head or whatever, we could enter your house trying to save you from either you hurting somebody else or from you hurting yourself.